Okay, I'm going to do this one or two more times until I'm really comfortable. I only have about 20 minutes left. All right, I'm Kingdon. I'm the maintainer on the Flux CD website and community teams, and I'm here to explain GitOps and Flux in 5 minutes. So GitOps at a high level, if you're new here, your developer will push their changes to Git, and they will go to the Kubernetes cluster. That is the bottom line. Of course, it's done using pull model with declarative configuration and versioned immutable storage and reconciling continuously. Okay, so Flux is, of course, such an agent, and it works like this. But what are the moving parts to understand how this works? So Flux is made of microservices. These are controllers that operate over CRDs, and this is important to understand in order to see how this relationship works. There is a subscription. That's what this loop signifies. So when the Git repository gets an update, the customization automatically pulls it using a watcher or an informer. So this happens automatically with zero configuration, and it's great. But there's a slight complication. So the Git repository itself lives outside of the cluster, so you'll need to configure a webhook in order to have that same experience of things being pulled instantly as soon as you push them. So I recommend that you do that, and that is one of the reasons why Receiver is in GitOps GA milestone, the Flux 2.0 milestone. So these things are all promoted to GA, and you can build your infrastructure on them and trust that they will not break in future updates. So what else is new in Flux 2.0? We've got Salsa Build Level 3, which is advanced provenance certification, so you can be certain your Flux hasn't been tampered with. You have workload identity support for OCI repositories across the various cloud providers, and you also have a brand new horizontal scaling feature that uses sharding in Flux for very large Flux installations. There's an ecosystem of tools, including Weave GitOps open source and enterprise, VS Code GitOps tools extension. I work on this. And you might already also use Flux because it's in a lot of products that don't necessarily put it on the front of the tin. But Flux is in all of these and more. The community is great. There is community support available in Slack, as well as paid support from Weaveworks and others. And there is a fantastic team of maintainers, contributors, and community members from around the world. The contributor ladder is extensive, and you can find us on the events calendar. Come work with us, have a conversation, ask us questions. We love it. Flux has adopters in large enterprises and partners in industry who are building their products on Flux, as we've already mentioned, and companies have trusted Flux for years in general. So in terms of automation, we have the Semver source ref, which is my personal favorite. This doesn't require any special privileges. There's also the image update automation, which writes back to Git. And this is fantastic for small dev shops. And we have Flagger for progressive delivery, and there's Terraform controller on the fringes of Flux for Terraform, also written in the style of the GitOps toolkit. So what about GitOps without Git? We mentioned before, OCI repository can also be connected in a similar configuration. So instead of deploying directly from Git, instead of pulling the entire Git repository into your cluster, you will pull only the tag that you need. And this is great. Also, these artifacts come from CI, so they can be signed by CI, which is fantastic. This is another feature of OCI that we can take advantage of, is container signatures with cosign. So their performance and security benefits. And so what does an OCI pipeline look like exactly? So if we have two different environments, you can imagine that the CI job, which already pushes an app image every time it runs, is now also going to push manifests to the container registry, and it'll use a label for which environment it's destined for. This configuration can be tailored to suit your needs, but in the basic case, it's very simple, and it doesn't require any permissions to write back to the Git repository. So Helm support is unparalleled across the ecosystem of tools such as this. Flux now has drift correction for Helm, which has been a long time coming. and there's a stable release on the way, Helm controller in Flux 2.1. So this is your call to action. I suggest that you download, if you haven't already, the GitOps tools for Flux VS Code extension. Check us out in the pre-release channel. We've made some updates that haven't landed yet in the regular releases, and also vote for Flux and read the docs.